Hello, this is Ms. DB. In this video we are going to work with function notation and use it to evaluate a function. So instead of writing y equals, like if it was a line, y equals 2x plus 4, we can write this in function notation where we say f of x is equal to 2x plus 4. That's how you'd read this, as f of x. This x is the same as this x. So that means if I replace this x with 2, that means that I am evaluating this function at 2. So I would replace this x with 2 as well. And then I just simplify and solve and find that f of 2 is equal to 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. Now I have seen some students think now they need to divide by 2. That's not true. F of 2, it's hard to read there, would be the answer. The answer is 8. So you don't, that was just the same as saying y equals 8. You don't redo anything at the end there. That's how you would leave it. So you're going to be doing the same thing for several of these problems. Here's another example. Given that f of x equals x squared plus 2x minus 1, find f of 2. So to evaluate this, I'm just going to replace the x with 2. So that means that f of 2 will equal, and then this is the right side is the side that you will simplify and solve. So there's parentheses here, especially if you have a negative value and you're squaring or taking to the power of 3 or any other exponent. You should be real careful that when you plug in, you put parentheses. So 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 1. And that would be equal to 4 plus 4 minus 1, which is 8 minus 1, or 7. So this is the answer. F of 2 is equal to 7. Here's another example with a negative value, same function. So just being careful when you take negative 3 squared, and your calculator might lie to you about this, but negative 3 squared is a positive number. It's positive 9. But 2 times negative 3 is a negative 6, so you'll get a different value. What I mean by your calculator might lie to you is depending on the calculator you're using, if I put in, for number, this example here, if I just type in negative 3 and square it, some calculators will know that I mean negative 3 times negative 3. This one does. It did it correctly. But some calculators will think that you mean negative 3 squared. So they think that you're saying negative and then 3 squared, which would be negative 9. So make sure that your calculator is computing this correctly. Many calculators, you need the parentheses around your negative before you square it, and there should be parentheses on your calculator. Now this last one's a little bit different. It says if f of x equals 2x minus 1, find x if f of x equals 6. They're giving us the left side of they're giving us the answer basically. So you replace 6 over here. You're looking for x, so you don't replace the x, you replace the f of x, which usually is where the y would go. So 6 equals 2x minus 1, and then you would solve by adding 1 to both sides, and then you divide by 2, and you'd get your answer of 3.5 equals x. So make sure you realize what they're asking in these problems. So in this first group, you're using this function, g of x equals 4x squared minus 3x plus 2. I should have mentioned that you can use different, usually we use f of x for function of, but they'll also use g, h, it depends on how many you have. It doesn't mean anything different, you're still doing the same thing. So in this problem, these are the values of x. So you'll plug them in and find what you get, and that'll be your answer. Let's just do number 4 real quick. So we would have 4. And then we would put in x. X is negative 2. Remember, this is your x value. I'll write that g of negative 2 is going to equal this. And then minus 3 times negative 2 plus 2. So this is equal to 4 times negative 2 squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. Then I have minus 3 times negative 2. So I'd have 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, but I have a minus sign. So that would be a plus 6. And then finally, I can do my multiplication, and then I can do all my adding. 16 plus 6 plus 2. Let's see, 16 plus 6 is 22, plus 2 more is 24. So that was number 4. In number 6, 7, 8, they're giving us the function, and then they're telling us what that function is equal to. So again, you'll be replacing the left side of the function. Let's look at number 8 on this, just for an example. So again, we're going to start with the function they give us at the beginning here, which is 5x minus 3. And in number 8, they tell us that f of x equals negative 3, so that goes on the left side, and it's equal to 5x minus 3. And we need to solve this equation for x. So I want to solve for x, and it has minus 3, so I add 3 to both sides. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And on the right side, I'm just left with 5x because minus 3 plus 3 cancels. And then this one's kind of strange. You would divide by 5 to solve, but 0 divided by any number is 0, so I would get that x is equal to 0. We'll be looking for what x is for 6 through 10. All right, number 11, it says the value of a Bobby Orr rookie card n years after its purchase is given by this function. V of n equals 520 plus 28n. N is the number of years after purchase. And Bobby Orr, you can look him up, but he's a former Canadian hockey player. So the first question asks you to find V of 6. So you'll be replacing n with 6 and solving to find. You'll be finding the answer and then explain what that means. What does that mean exactly? And the next one is they want to find the value of n when V of n equals 744. So that's the one where you'll be putting the 744 on the left side and then trying to find what n is from there. So solving the equation for n. And then C says determine the original price of the card. So you might want to think about that would be at 0 years after its purchase, right? It'll be right when it happened. I just want to talk a little bit more about this last one. It says when is f of x undefined? So we have a rule in math that you can never divide by 0. 0 cannot be in the denominator. So this function would be undefined when the denominator would be equal to 0. And we'll do this a lot in the coming months in Algebra 2, is look at what values you cannot let x be. We cannot let x be negative 2. X cannot be negative 2 because if it was, we would get 0 in the denominator, and that is not possible. It's undefined, not allowed. And then for 15, that's when x is equal to 4, so you just plug in 4 and find what you get. And then the last one again, for what value of x does f of x equals 2, that's when you'll be putting the 2 on the left side and then trying to find what x is. So you'll be solving this equation. When you solve this equation, this one's a little trickier. I would start, you might want to do trial and error, it might be easier, but I would start by multiplying both sides by the denominator because I can't really work with this with a fraction equal to 2 like that. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator, which is x plus 2. If you multiply a fraction by its denominator, the denominator is canceled out. So on the right side, I just have 3x now. So now I have a new equation, which is 2 times, I'm just writing this in the other order to make it more similar to the way you've seen distributive property written, is equal to 3x. So now this is your equation to solve to find what x is when f of x equals 2. All right, so it's not a very long worksheet. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need any more help. Thank you very much. Have a